Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday Wisdom, our live Object Talk series. My name is Lisa, and I am the Senior Learning Manager here at the Jewish Museum, London. We have over 40,000 objects in our designated collection that showcases the diversity of Jewish life and history. Our programs exist to preserve these unique and diverse voices of Jewish communities and explore connections between faiths and cultures. So now that the museum is open again, this will be the last of our weekly Object Talk series. However, we will be starting to run a monthly schedule of Object Talks. They will be released on the first Wednesday of every month. So our next Object Talk will be next week on the Wednesday, 1st of September, and this will begin our series of monthly Object Talks. So do join us next week where we'll be having an Object Talk on the theme of Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year. For now, though, this is the last Object Talk for the month of August, and our theme for this month has been fun. So for my talk today, I have selected an object that has links to leisure, but also health from the East End of London. So I'll share my screen now. Lovely. So we are looking at an enameled metal wall sign, which is advertising the Russian Vapour Baths in Brick Lane. The sign has a dark blue background with white and blue letters on it and a light blue border. And it gives details of the address of the baths, the distance from the nearest underground stations, the opening days, and the benefits of the bath. So the sign reads, "Keep well and fit by regular visits to the real Russian Vapour Baths. Open daily for gentlemen, including Sundays. Wednesdays, ladies only. Best massage in London, 86 and 86A Brick Lane. 3 minutes from Liverpool Street and Aldgate stations. Invaluable relief from rheumatism, gout, sciatica, neuritis, lumbago, and allied complaints." So this sign currently hangs in our history gallery, and it dates from the early 20th century, in the middle of what is known as the Great Migration. The Great Migration was a period of Jewish migration from Russia and Eastern Europe between the years 1880 and 1914. Now, during this time, Jewish people in Russia and Eastern Europe were facing increased persecution and pogroms. And as a result, around 3 million Jewish people left their homes to seek a better life elsewhere. Most of these Jewish immigrants went to the USA. However, 150,000 settled in Britain, and the majority of those in the East End of London. Now, the East End of London at this time was a poor area and very close to the docks, which made it a logical place for new immigrants to settle. Our collections reflect both the poverty, the difficult working conditions, the poor housing that these Jewish immigrants lived in, but also highlights some of the more positive sides of daily life in the East End. The immigrant community in the East End set up numerous small synagogues, which really recreated the atmosphere of those in Eastern Europe. They also opened up shops selling kosher food and other goods. They were given, the Jewish community was given special permission to hold their market day on a Sunday rather than a Saturday, which was typical during England at this time. However, since Saturday is Shabbat, the Jewish day of rest, the Jewish community was able to be granted special permission to have their market days on Sunday. The East End was also full of posters and newspapers in Yiddish, and the busy, sort of bustling streets. You would have heard lots of vendors and traders shouting and selling their wares in Yiddish as well. So Yiddish was the language of home for many of these Jewish immigrants. Yiddish is written in Hebrew characters, but it takes its roots from both Hebrew and German. Now, it was the first language for many of the Jewish immigrants settling in the East End, and soon the East End had kind of shop signs in Yiddish and posters and newspapers, and also a thriving Yiddish theater scene as well. So just kind of builds up a picture of the life in the East End in the early 20th century. Now, the Russian Vapour Baths on Brick Lane were run by a man named Benjamin Schwick, and were simply known as Schwicks. The tradition of vapor baths had been brought over by Jewish immigrants from Russia and became part of social and religious life in London's East End from the late 19th century onwards. The men's baths were the most frequently used, and Friday evening was the busiest time, when many men would go there straight after work before going to the synagogue for Friday night prayers. Now, as well as being part of religious life, the Russian Vapour Baths were also used by many for leisure, or also as a way to stay healthy. Many of the Jewish immigrants worked as tailors, as milliners, furriers, bakers, etc. Hours in many of these trades and professions were often very long. They often worked in overcrowded conditions with not enough ventilation and for very little pay. Now, I'm sure we can all imagine that this must have left these individuals very tired, very stressed, looking for a way to relax as well. Home life also could have been a little bit stressful. Many living quarters were often cramped. Sometimes multiple families or many people were occupying not that many rooms. And again, conditions were often not that sanitary. So we can perhaps imagine some of these individuals perhaps visiting the Russian Vapour Baths to relax and to wind down after a difficult week, or simply to just have a break from home life. Now, the Russian Vapour Baths were also famous for being the trading spot of a woman named Sarah, aka the Brick Lane Bagel Lady, of whom we have this ceramic portrait in our collection. Now, this model of Sarah, of the Bagel Lady, is made of plaster of Paris, and we can see a model of a woman sitting on a box surrounded by 2 baskets of bagels and a sales sign. One of the baskets is sort of made of ceramic covered with hessian, and the other one is made out of reed. The woman is wearing a black coat, a hat, and a brown scarf, and she's holding 6 bagels on a string. Now, Sarah sold her bagels in front of the gateway to Schwick's Russian Vapour Baths from the 1930s until the 1940s or 50s, and she was a well-known East End character. She usually sat on a box on the pavement, and Anna, who was either her sister or her daughter, we're not exactly sure, sat on a box a short distance away, also selling bagels. Now, both women if they weren't cursing their customers in Yiddish, they were usually cursing each other. And the bagels were sold in batches of 6 on a string, as we can see here in this ceramic image. So Sarah sat in front of Schwick's Russian Vapour Baths selling her bagels. The Russian Vapour Baths were actually open throughout the war, but unfortunately they did have to close in the mid-1940s. Not long after the war, they had to close in the mid-1940s after a fire, and eventually were later demolished. This sign was retrieved from the site of the baths by the son of a former caretaker. This sign tells us the story of these Jewish immigrants who moved to the East End of London at the turn of the century, and gives us a glimpse into their daily life, perhaps their weekly routine, and how they might have found a moment to relax in the Russian Vapour Baths. So thank you so much for joining me today for this object talk, the last of our weekly object talks, as I've mentioned, now that the museum is open. And as I've mentioned, we will now be moving to a monthly schedule of object talks, released on the first Wednesday of every month. So please do join us next week on Wednesday, the 1st of September, for the first of our monthly object talks, which will be on the theme of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. So thank you so much, and see you next time.